Happy Tuesday to all of you. Thank you for joining us. We are so excited to have you here. We have a great episode for you today.
Yes.
Swiping for love. Come on, y'all. Swiping for love. Dating in the 21st century. And we need to figure out how to do that. And we need to figure out how to do it God's way. Well, I will say to you that we are happy to have you here. I'm Lorraine Edwards with my co-host Onita Hall. We have a special guest who I won't tell you who that is quite yet, but he will. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be cool. I kind of like this dude a little bit, so um, that's why I invited him to be on here. So, welcome to another episode of Live, Love, and Marry Wiser, where our mission is in our name. Proverbs 4:7 says, Wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and in all your getting, get understanding. When you give us your time, we plan, we pray, we prepare for you to access wisdom for your life in relationships through all of the hosts and the guests that join us weekly. And today, we want you to get wise about what's happening in these streets as far as dating. How can you do it in a godly way, but still do it? You know, a lot of us have been taught that we should just wait, and I believe that in a sense. I did believe, of course, we want to wait on God and not jump into something prematurely, but we still should be actively doing something if we are wanting to pursue a relationship. And so part of this episode is I'm going to share my new journey of intentional dating and how that's going to. Now it only started on Sunday, so like not a lot has happened, but every week I'm going to give you an update on what has happened thus far. Hey Onita, how you doing today?
Hey, Lorraine, I am doing good. I tried a new recipe tonight for the family, and it was a hit. So I'm winning.
Yes, good. I'm glad to hear that. Now, I hope you all have subscribed to our YouTube channel. Remember, we're not going back over to Facebook. And so I need you to hit that like button right now. That would be super awesome. And we can get this going and rolling. Before we jump into the discussion, I'm going to talk a little bit about this here book that I'm writing that's almost ready. Pray It Forward. Now, if you were here last week, I kept messing up the title or the subtitle. It's for wives who choose to fight on their knees. But then I realized it wasn't a mess up. God changed some stuff. So we're changing the book, and it is going to be for women who choose to fight on their knees. And that means every woman, whether you're married or single, you have a brother, father, son, cousin that you need to be interceding for. This devotional will be for you. And we want it to go to all women's ministries and all churches and all people. Hey, Ebony. And I was excited, but it's still work to get that out. But God was just saying, no, we all need to be praying. All the women need to be praying for the men in our church, in our communities, because men have such a foundational role in how our families run, how our churches run, how our community runs. So we're excited. And in a sense, we're going to be talking a little bit about that today.
Yeah.
And so my guest is my brother, Hayden Edwards. He has been a very big supporter of me in this journey with the YouTube channel. And he's always like giving me tips, and he's just like, oh, you should talk about this. And so for a while now, he has been telling me that we need to talk about relationships and dating culture in the world and how that's going. Passport brothers and the red pill community and the pink pill community and the manosphere and all of that stuff. And we're going to talk about that today, because I think that a lot of times as Christians or people of faith, we take this thing where we say we're in the world but not of the world. We almost take it to the extreme where it's like we don't even want to know what's going on in the world. We don't even want to have any. And so when our young people go out there, they're learning things and doing things. We don't even really know how to respond to that because we're just ignorant. So hopefully we're going to be able to inform you of some stuff. Today, we're going to do something a little differently, though. I'm not going to be the interviewer. I'm not going to facilitate. Onita is going to be Oprah Winfrey today. It's her dream job.
Yes.
And so I'm going to let her take it from here.
Well, awesome. Well, Hayden, thank you for coming on the show today. We're so happy to have you and so grateful that you shared so many great ideas with Lorraine. It's been a blessing. It's been a trip some nights going through some of these topics, but we're so happy to have you. Before we get started, Hayden, can you just introduce the people to yourself a little bit?
Oh yeah, my name is Hayden Edwards. I'm a man of many years. I am single, divorced, and I own a restaurant in Sarasota, Florida. So I'm a guy that's busy. My children are all grown. I have 4 of them, all adults, doing great things in life.
Awesome. I'm putting my phone on do not disturb right now. But Hayden, it's so awesome that you said that because I want to ask you, are you single like a Pringle and ready to mingle?
Well, that is actually a good question. I thought, after being married for so long, over 20 years, actually about 30 years, I thought I'm good. I am good. But just recently, I did something big. I bought a restaurant and I felt like I'm going to need support in some way. So around the time I purchased the restaurant, I got on one of these apps and said, let me see what's out there. I don't know how serious I was. And probably the people that went out on dates with me would be a better judge of that. They always have the relationship saying, I want to be in the long term. I want to be in the short term. I don't understand that one. And the other ones are trying to figure it out. I put one in to be in a long-term relationship, but I think I might just be trying to figure it out.
Yeah. Hey, it's good that you're honest with yourself. I think a lot of times people are not honest with themselves of what level of commitment you're ready to put in. So for nothing else, you being out there, taking a chance and going dating a little bit kind of help you be able to put that into perspective. So that's great that you've gotten that. And that you were able to tell these people, hey, I'm not ready. But I think it's awesome that you got a restaurant. Are you a good cook? I'm asking for the singles out there.
Well, let's put it this way. I am at a level, which is probably very germane to this subject, that I don't spend much time cooking. I'm the entrepreneur.
Awesome.
We have about 25 employees, and I do a little bit, but not as much as when I originally was going into it, I thought I would be doing. But no, I'm doing more of the higher level management responsibilities.
Well, that's awesome. That's awesome. So basically, if you meet somebody, you can bring them into the restaurant at least, and they can get the VIP experience because you're not having to be in the back. Maybe get to yourself, or not. You may not want to bring them close to your work area. Just
trust me. They several of the people I've dated have gone there without me.
Okay, I feel like there's a story behind that. And maybe we'll get to that tonight. Well, before we get to that, and speaking of restaurants, just thought it'd be a cute little icebreaker to ask you. You've heard about this list going around of restaurants that women are saying they do not want to be taken to on first dates or dates in general. And one being the one sister who put a video up that I just thought was so distasteful and rude of she's there. First of all, the guy's driving a Tesla, so he ain't broke. And she would not open the car door because he brought her to Cheesecake Factory. And so what are your thoughts? And I'll ask both of you this, but I'll go to you first, Hayden, because you're in the hot seat right now. What are your thoughts on the fact that women are saying they cannot be taken to the Cheesecake Factory, which I might add, I went there this past weekend and had a lovely time.
Well, I have lots of thoughts about that. But I'll say this to start. Since this woman did this, other women have developed those lists, and there are so many women in that amen column that it's scary.
Yeah,
it's scary.
Yeah.
And of course, there are other women on the other side. But for me, that situation, it backfired on her. Just she was with a decent guy, and I've seen the post interview that she had, and she backed down a little bit. She recognized that she was wrong, that she that she didn't understand that she was putting her. It was her video.
Yeah.
She thought from the point that she pressed post, she thought that she was in the right, that was the right thing
on her side.
to do. She had no idea that she would receive what she's called the backlash, threats.
Wow.
I mean, that's taking it too far. But she didn't understand the complexity of what happens to a man that is looking for a partner, a spouse. If he's spending all this kind of money on multiple dates, he's going to these other restaurants. I've seen there's a guy, a Jamaican guy that interviews people in Miami and Charlotte and Austin on the streets outside the clubs. And one of the questions I've been watching him ask is ask women, how much do you expect a man to spend on the first date?
Good question.
And I'm hearing some crazy stuff. I'm like, I might be cheap because $500 on the first date.
Wow.
Because if I spent $500 on a first date and I didn't like you and I went to date someone else, I would eventually be broke in my quest to find someone. So I feel that that's unreasonable.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got it like that, go ahead. Anyway, Cheesecake Factory, I think she, as the young people say, she played herself.
For sure. She played herself. I'm glad to hear her. I didn't see the retraction video. I have to go look for that. I didn't see that she kind of backed down, as I knew it would, because, everybody's very quick to be opinionated on the web. I think it's created a lot of narcissistic people who don't even realize that they're being that way. Again, going into the whole swiping left too, when you get to the dating apps. But I'm glad to see she's backed down a little bit from that, and hopefully she's learned her lesson. Lorraine, what are your thoughts about it?
My thoughts about it are that is crazy to me. I looked at that list, and there were probably 2 places on there that I was just like, I wouldn't go there.
Yeah.
And one was his house. So or my house.
Yeah.
And there was another one I can't remember. But
Might be a Waffle House.
Yeah.
For the first date.
I mean, they make good waffles though. I'm just
They
saying.
do.
I
If you're leaving,
probably wouldn't want to do that on the first date.
Yeah.
But you know what? For me, and I would just be like, I'm different. For me, I almost don't want you to spend any money on our first date. Maybe an ice cream, vegan or whatever. But I would like to go. For me, the ideal first date is to the park or someplace like that where we can just walk and talk. And I can see if we actually are connecting, that we can have conversation. So many times in restaurants, of course you can talk, but it's like, it's noisy. Cheesecake Factory has a book as a menu. I'm going to spend half the day trying to figure out what I even want to eat.
Yeah.
And it's dark. You can hardly see the person. And the waiter's constantly interrupting. I just want to be able to have like a nice flow with you and see, hey, we can have a conversation for 30, 45 minutes, an hour or so. I want to keep talking to him. He wants to keep talking to me.
Yeah.
And maybe we go to have, I don't drink coffee, but like you go to a little cafe or something like that and have some. That for me is an ideal type of first date. And so people talking about like $150 seems a lot to me. Even in like, for real, I don't even want my husband spending $150 on regularly going out. I'm just like, flipping houses or something. What are you doing? It ain't about all that.
Yeah.
So I think obviously sometimes you want to go out and do something special, but $500 to me is just insane.
Ridiculous.
It is insane. Even I've been married 23 years, and even for an anniversary date, it don't never get that expensive. So I was like, where are you going? What in the world is happening there?
Right.
You leave with the 55-inch TV. Like, what in the world? Like, I don't know. I don't get it. And I'm so glad I'm not in a dating game because I would be so lost. When we talked about some of the topics early on, some of the things we'd be talking about tonight, I was just like dumbfounded. As you say, be in the world but not of the world. You kind of do put on blinders when you're in the church to what is really happening and what people are really experiencing on the day to day. We are not in an era where we can all just move out to the fields, the country, and just kind of turn off our internet and that's it. No, we're not. We're literally out here. And unfortunately, because we put blinders on sometimes, we're not necessarily given the best and sound advice when we are talking to younger people, when they're out there dating. And then we wonder why they never bring anybody with them when they're around because they lost, they're confused. So I went down, when we're talking about these dating apps, I went and started looking at some of the statistics as far as, how many women and men, because typically you go to certain areas and you've seen it a lot in church. There's always way more women in that church than there are men usually. So the dating pool, if you're just looking at church, and again, some people are literally dead set, no matter the Christian faith, if they're Baptist or Adventist, some of them like, I'm only looking for a man in church. Well, their dating pool is very, very limited. If they're looking for a heterosexual spouse, put it that way. That's a whole nother ball game.
That's a whole nother episode.
And so I went to just the statistics to see, one, are people saying they're actually finding relationships? So Hayden, you may be interested to know this. They're saying that 70% of people who actually met a connection on a dating app said it led to a romantic and exclusive relationship. I thought, wow, those are pretty good odds because one of my favorite shows, I would tell you right now, of course, the writers in Hollywood are all on strike, so a lot of shows are not on. The one that I faithfully watch is Married at First Sight. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what their statistics are. I'm quite sure they're not that good because I get to see many people decide not to stay together at the end. They're going there completely blind. So when anybody stays together, you're like, okay, what in the world? But I thought, man, 70% leads to a romantic and exclusive relationship. Interesting. Of that, ages 43 to 58 find the most success, though. So listen to that. Ages 43 to 58.
Okay. I'm in there.
Yeah. Yeah. And so just that alone, what do you think? Because they didn't go too much into it. I know some of it for me, I would think the person, because you're a little bit more established, you're experienced, you've gone through some things. You may have even been in a long relationship, and now you've learned from that. What do you say will maybe some of the contributing factors to that age range and why they're finding more success in the age 43 to 58?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you, but I think that the older you get, the more mature you get, the more serious you are, and you know what to look for, or you're more serious about what you look for. I look at the guys that say, you should make a list of what you want and exclude anyone that does not hit those things you want. You should not compromise in that early stage. Early stage when you're just getting to know someone, there should be no compromise because there's no real loss. I know for myself, I am on the one that starts with 10 and ends in er.
Oh yeah, I got statistics for them.
And the ladies that I met, I went out on 4 dates, and we had what I felt was very good conversation, especially from their standpoint. I would say that all of them, I'm an introvert, but I extrovert well. All of them put me a little bit through the ringer, just with riddling me with questions about my life and my future, telling me a lot about not about their hopes and dreams.
Mhm.
And the one thing that I find amusing that I tell everyone when I talk about these dates, here's the thing. All four of them in one way or another asked how much I was making. How much money I was
Wow.
making. All four of them. And I didn't tell them. I was very coy. Very coy.
Wow. And this was like first or second date?
Okay. There's one woman in particular. I was going to say I've only had one date with them, but there's another one that I've had a second date. I'll tell you about that one. She's the one I took to Cheesecake Factory. All hands up! All hands up! She was very satisfied with I just she was. Now we had a date. I took her home. She actually gave me her address. I took her home. And where do we go from here? I did nothing. So in 24 hours, I find out now it's 24 hours, she unmatched with me. And that kind of it kind of hurt. It kind of hurt.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, I guess she doesn't like me. 3 or 4 weeks later, I was actually telling my family about this. And since then, I was in the barbershop, glasses off, getting my hair cut. She walked in with her son.
Oh, wow.
And she called me out. And I could tell it was her. And I'm like, okay, well, I just like, hey. Anyway, we went to lunch. So that's why I said, I guess there was a second date.
Yeah.
We went to lunch. And you know what I found out? That she would only, if a guy does not contact her after a date within 24 hours, she unmatches with them because she's assuming they don't like her. So I waited more than 24 hours.
Wow.
So I've spoken to her a little bit since then. We've talked about what she's looking for. We've had serious conversations, but no dates, no further dates, because she was taking a 20-year-old son to get his haircut. What's up with that? I haven't. I haven't.
I it was like
emotional investment, okay, and detachment. Oh Lord.
Oh yeah. Yes.
That's quite interesting.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to answer the question, but I'm going to comment on that because we talked last week about Onita's love story. And there was a funny part in there where I'm not going to go through that, but you should watch that. I'm going to link that over her head and you should watch that because it was hilarious. But what we talked about later was that her then boyfriend, now husband, he didn't make an assumption and then just roll with it. He asked her a question. It was a funny question, not funny to her necessarily, but it was funny to us. And he got an answer. And a lot of times we make assumptions and then we make decisions for our whole life and relationship based on an assumption versus just asking a question. Or we create this, it's a generic time frame that if someone doesn't respond to you or reach out to you in 24 hours, he's a businessman, he's got this, he's got stuff going on. Like, you didn't even if you had communicated that, maybe he would have responded, but you just made that up in your head and then you acted based on what was in your head with no communication.
Yes.
That's a big problem.
Yeah.
And I think that, how old was she?
She was about 46, I think is what her.
And this is a problem that I have. And, kind of one of the reasons that we even started the channel is that we just need to be wiser about the things that we do. When you ask the question about why do you think maybe that age group is more successful? Well, part of the reason is because that age group actually wants to get married. Yeah. And we're living in a time frame when the younger people, I was watching some videos this week, today, about this red pill community that we're going to talk about shortly, but I mean, it was an older guy, but he was part of this community. And he's just like, men don't want to get married because they don't see any value in marriage for them.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of risk.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And the risk is not worth the reward. Like, what am I getting out of it? This is what men are thinking. And so, but I think that when you get up there, it's like now you start thinking about, dying alone and being sick and not having that support and not having someone to share. When you're younger, you could just, maybe go and have sex with somebody or be a short-term type of thing. We are totally against sex before marriage, but I'm saying this is what people are doing. And so I think that that's why, and you do get some better clarity when you're older to say, yeah. In fact, I'll tell you my story.
Can't wait. Yes, yes. Yes.
So I just got on a dating app again. I've been on it before several years ago. And, it was really frustrating because you would get stuff like, guys who would be on there and be like, oh, I'm in love with you. I want to marry you. And I'm just like, yo, you need a green card. I don't do that. Whatever your whatever that
papers.
I'm like, not even like, we haven't even talked yet. It's like, now you in love with me. So it just kind of got frustrating. And I just was like, I'm done with this. And every once in a while I would kind of jump on there, but I just, in the last few years, I haven't really been interested in that because I've been working on the business. And so, but over the last few weeks, I've just decided I want to be intentional because I want to, all I do is work and go to church. And then I go to church and work. And now I'm at the church working like this board. So it's just like, it started to get old for me. Like I want to have I want to have fun. I want to go do things. I want to meet men. I want to go out on a date, even if it doesn't turn into, a lifetime relationship. I would like to get back into just like enjoying men because I like having conversations with men. I like interacting with men. And so I decided I was going to be intentional about this. And so I got on a website. It's called Christian Cafe. And because I'm not really about the swiping and all that stuff, I want someone who is a Christian, first of all, but also a Christian Seventh-day Adventist, because I am looking for marriage. Even if obviously every person may not lead to marriage because that's against the law in most places, but I would like to think if I'm going out something that I have this in mind, that this is a possibility. So my field has narrowed, even though there's 20 million of us around the world, but still most of us are single men. So I was like, okay, I did eHarmony, and then I deleted it because it was just a whole lot of drama around that. And I was just like, nah, I'm not gonna do that. So I ended up with Christian Cafe. So
that didn't even come up in my top searches. I'm just gonna let you know that.
Yeah. I never heard of it.
I got an email from this guy, and he gave me a wink, and then I just got on Sunday. He gave me a wink.
Explain the wink to people who are not on the dating app.
Okay, so you can do you can send a message or you can send a wave, just like a emoji type thing. You can send a wink to someone just to start the conversation. So I got a wink, and then I went and looked at him. I'm just like, okay, that's probably not gonna work out. But okay, what do you got to say? He was just, and y'all, this is, and in the past, I would have just deleted the whole thing because I'm just like, see, I don't got time for this. It's like your profile caught my eye and made me want to wink at you. I'd love to start a conversation. Okay, I'm gonna tell y'all the punchline shortly. But so I was just like, no, I don't. I went through his profile. I did not need to go through his profile to know this was not a great fit, but I went through it anyway because I wanted to find something to respond to. And why he said in his profile, I need a lady who is willing to move into the Advent Village retirement community.
Wait a minute. Oh God.
Dude is 79 years old.
Wow.
He cannot drive his car any longer. And what he needs is a caregiver.
He needs a helpmate. Somebody to help him.
The CNA. He was like, what the world?
I realized that 79, I am a bit older than you. But I thought I'd just touch base to see if there was some way of interesting to you. If nothing else, I would like to meet you. I'm looking forward to hearing from you and asking God to bless you in every way.
That old school wink. So that could have been a real wink. That's what they used to do back in the 30s.
Exactly.
Indeed. And I was just like, dude, okay, no. So then I had to respond because one of the rules, they're like, be nice to people when they even not interested in them. And I'm generally a kind person anyway. But I was just like, no, I just don't think it's a good fit. But then he pursued more, and I was just like, yeah, I said, I think we're both looking for matches that can fit our lifestyle, and I don't think this is it. So, but in the past, I would have just been like, forget this, you know. But I'm just like, I'm just gonna have fun with this and just see where God leads. So,
it for me, just being on this app, I think it's about 5 months. It's more stress than fun. So I'm glad you think that that can be fun.
It's only
I'm
been
just
2
like
days.
stressed out. Oh, you'll get there. You'll get there.
Well, on Tinder, they're saying it's 21% women and 78% men on Tinder. That's interesting.
Oh, on Tinder. Oh.
Yeah, but
how many? Say one more time.
78% men and 21% women.
Wow.
I found that to be shocking because it's usually always more women than men. But it's more on Bumble, they're a little bit closer. It's 43% women and 57% men. And then there's another one called Badoo, like taboo, I guess, Badoo, 35% women and 65% men. So, and so many of y'all on Tinder, Hayden, you may need to come off there and go to Bumble. make it better, better.
I'm not against checking out other ones as well.
Yeah.
I just started here, but because it takes a little time to set up your profile.
It takes a little time, like you said. Unfortunately, because time is such a high commodity, people don't have a lot of time, and even the Christians are probably going to the ones that are most popular. Keep it in mind, though, Lorraine. I will tell you, I've been married a while. Not sometimes, there's some Christian men who may not even go on that app because they want to play around a little bit first. They may come there to find their wife, but they go to other ones, as Eddie Murphy said on no, not Eddie Murphy. Arsenio Hall said, the soul the royal oats. They may go play here and come over here to find a wife. So,
but I will also add that I did reach out to 3 guys that were good like they were really a good match for me. And even though I haven't even gotten those matches, but I just saw them, and I was watching this podcast on YouTube a couple of weeks ago, and there's a dating coach on there, and she was talking about how to set up your profile for the best results and feedback and all that. And she was just like, women, you talk too much, just put like short stuff. So I had to keep cutting stuff out. Like, men aren't going to read all that.
No.
And it's just like, but you can initiate conversation by just asking like a question that relates to his profile. So he knows that you were like, you're not just saying hi, because people are always like, hi, or send you a wink. Like, that doesn't start a conversation.
Yeah. For Tinder, you have to match first.
Well, yeah,
before you can have a conversation. So
that's a little different there. So yeah.
So but Chrissy, you get a little bit more freedom, Hayden, over there in Christian Cafe. Yeah. I mean, I'm
not ready to move into the Advent Village yet.
That's what I'm saying. I'm still scared. I mean, kudos to the brother that he's actually still computer savvy. Okay, he created a profile.
he's still shooting a shot.
Maybe his grandson set it up for him, and they he now knows how to go in there and do whatever. But I'm just scared that he even shot. I'm just scared that he even tried it. He may find somebody though. Somebody out there.
Find somebody, God bless him.
Especially if Sister need her papers, she may go ahead and move into that Abbott village for 5 years and see what's what.
It's a secure home and all of that stuff too. The community around you and shuffleboard,
Trips to the mall together, trips to the local grocery. You can't beat it. You can't beat it.
I'm passing up right here.
But I think that one of the things that we're seeing as far as men and women in this thing is that even at that age, there seems to be, and I've heard this term as I was doing a little background for this for tonight. There's an epidemic of loneliness, yet men and women seem to be far apart.
Yes.
Oh,
people
for sure.
that want to be with someone but can't find someone for whatever that reason is.
Yeah.
And so the alternatives start coming out. What do I do next? I think for me, I'm saying now I've been 5 months in. I could take it, or I'm good. I think so, but you never know. I've probably been up and down during this process where I'm like, I'm good. Okay, no. I need someone. I need the support of someone. I don't need their financial support. I don't need them to cook and clean. I was raised by a woman that taught her sons how to do those type of things. So I'm well versed in taking care of my home and whatever. But you just want someone to talk to, that's the young me would have never said something like that.
Yeah.
But the old me is now like, wait a second, there's some level of intimacy in not the sex part, the relationship. I need the so there I go, up and down, up and down, up and down.
Well, that ties into when you said we're kind of going our separate ways. There's a huge movement where people feel like I'm just going to do me. So people it's been ingrained to have this to be detaching. So this detachment style that's being promoted more than anything, where you have, again, let's go into this red pill thing. We have men, the whole theory of men going their own way because of this anti-feminism movement where they're like, well, y'all believe y'all can do everything on your own. Well, go do everything on your own. You don't feel you need a man. You got the job, the house, the car. You can go to the sex toy store, do whatever. You don't need us, then go. And don't need us then. But which that still stems from a level of rejection. Manosphere, I think is, if I'm pronouncing that correct, Lorraine, we're talking about transition into that, was a lot of that is derived out of initially rejection, tired of being rejected, tired of being alienated, and so feeling lonely. And then it begins to dim the vision of what a relationship could be for you, because you're not getting anywhere with, say, women who do have these long lists or these high, I wouldn't even say high standards, because I think everybody, the man and the woman, should have, and Hayden, you touched on that earlier, you should have a realistic and practical list or standards of kind of what are some non-negotiables, because there are some things that you may start off, even if you're doing a paper, you have your first draft, your rough draft, your first draft, and then you come back through, you red line down, mark some things, and then you got the real list. What is the list that has your non-negotiables and some things you're willing to let go? And so we both should have that, but I think that we're in a society now where people are so hung up on, they want basically perfection. All 100 of these things, or if it's 20, I must have all 20 of these things, or I'm not giving them a chance in this era. So let's talk a little bit about this whole red pill thing, Lorraine.
Okay. So for those who don't know, the red pill community is a community of men who at the foundation, there's this belief that white men particularly are being oppressed, and that comes from feminism and liberal politics. women who are, you know, who just think they can do everything on their own. They don't need a man, that whole thing. And so there's actually like a men's rights movement that goes along with this. And there's different extremes. Like some people are super extreme and there's just a lot of misogyny and all of that. And then other people are people like you said, who have felt rejected. They can't meet the standard that the internet is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Even some real life women are saying, you know, you have to have 6 figures and you got to be 6 feet tall and you got to
6 and 6.
What's the other 6? I don't know what that
6
is.
figures, 6-pack, and 6 feet tall.
Six pack. Thank you. We couldn't remember earlier.
And so how many men are actually like that? Not a lot, you know. And so they're feeling rejected. They want to have a partner, but they can't meet those standards. So now they're just trying to they're turning against women because there's this other group that's like, yeah, women are terrible and this and this and this.
Yeah.
And so let's all join together. But the thing is, and I want to touch on this on the feminism aspect, is that feminism really went to the extreme. And a lot of women have, even then and now, still jump on board that, even Christian women.
Yeah.
And so I do believe in equal pay. I do believe in equality. I do believe in all those things that mean I'm not your slave. You're not here to dominate me.
Right.
You know, I was just listening to a podcast talking about the difference in sentencing between men who are abused by their wives and then end up killing them, and women who do the same. And men, they average 2 to 5 years of prison. Women average 15 plus years of prison. And you're just like, the injustice, the system is unjust in many respects, not just for race, but for gender as well. So yes, I believe in justice. I believe in equity. I believe in equality on many levels, but I also believe in biblical submission. I also believe in biblical headship. I also believe in those things. And I think those things can be held in tension at the same time. But feminism was just like, we don't need no man. We don't need you. We can do our thing. We can make our money. We can do, and it's just like, okay.
I think the rub is
go ahead.
That most women, a lot of women, the women that are the loudest, how's that? The women that are the loudest are opposed to those two things.
Yes.
They want to lord over the man, and all we're hearing is them. Continue.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and that's part of why we're having this conversation, because we want to be loud about how God wants us to be in relationship.
Mm-hmm.
The truth is, I'm listening to a lot more men and women who are in those high figure numbers, who are married, they are saying, I don't want to be the head of as a woman. I don't want to be in charge. I want to submit to my husband.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want the burden of carrying the family. I don't want that. And so women are kind of coming back around to, a lot of women are coming back around to, I don't really want that. God didn't build me for that. You know, I was telling my friend when I was talking about just kind of this new journey I want to be on, I said, I'm built to build.
Yes.
But not in the sense of in isolation. Like, I can help a man build anything he wants to build.
Mm-hmm.
I know that.
Yeah.
I've been in every job I've ever been in. I could spend a week there and know what they need to do to improve. So if I had a partner who was trying to build something, I'm like, I got you, babe.
Yes.
But building by myself, even though God called me and I'm single and I'm not just going to sit around waiting for a man to help build him.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I want to build with a partner. I want to be the person that helps you see those things that you don't see. And every man that I'm hearing that is one of those 6-figure guys, they're like, you are exponentially better with a wife.
Yeah.
And so they ain't part of the red pill community.
Yeah.
Community. And the women aren't part of that mindset because they're like, I want to help him build. I love what we are building together.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I want. But a lot of times the people who are part of those communities are people who don't have that kind of money. They don't have that kind of clout. Don't have a six pack. That's not. And so they are meeting women who are maybe looking for something that they aren't even bringing to the table either.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and so real quick before my post 4 kids / brain memory fog, I forget everything I need to say. but I literally was just talking to my daughter who's in college now, as a freshman, about that building thing right there. That you have and they don't talk about it much today, but during the pandemic, it was going around a lot where I'm not raising no man. He better come to me already put together. And I told her, I said, you have to look at some of the most successful couples you see. I said, we were, as women, we were made to be to help me and help him build. And what that means is sometimes, even if and I could say, for instance, even in my marriage, sometimes that meant my career goals sometimes were, they weren't put away completely, but they were just put on the table for a moment while we were helping to build his. His is going to be the one too that kind of financially we knew he was providing, but also I was able to help support him in ways where he goes to work. He knew he didn't have to worry about the home being taken care of. I wasn't calling him with any emergencies. I'm able to call the plumber, the electrician, and all of that. So when he came home and he can go to his closet, he can grab a shirt and whatever. And I used to have some women, not many, younger women, and some who are really still single today, that were like, I ain't having this. I ain't cooking this. I ain't doing that. They're great at ordering takeout. They brag about, I can't really cook, but they want the 6, 6, and 6. Right. They want all 3 6s, but they're not willing to come down for a moment and say, my part, what God has wired me to do is to be able to help this man build and also build him up and esteem him. And so, no, we're not saying you need to raise him because, like you said, certain people take certain words and phrases or the catchphrase of the week, and they throw that too on the feminism pool and say, oh, that's part of being a feminist too, because I ain't raising no man. He need to come to me already like this. Right. No, we're building together, but I need to also be able to help support him in his building, because then my time comes too where he not only wants this for me, it's not even a thing where I want it for me. He wants it for me too, but he's at a point too where career-wise, he's coasting, and now he's like, okay, babe, what you want to do? Whatever you want to do, I want to support you in that. And he's established things to where we're doing it together. But whatever it is I've done here at the home too, it's appreciated, it's valued. It's not he doesn't diminish it and say that's not of importance. That's of importance as well. And so we're building that thing together. But sometimes too, people are in this mindset of not wanting to give at all. They want only to, what are you giving me? And not understanding you had to give. And one last point, I told my daughter, I said, think about this. I said, you want a real life example? I said, Michelle Obama was an educated lawyer in her own right, went to some of the best schools. I said, Barack could not become president, senator, and president if she was not on board. And she took it and her family, and they decided as a family, even bringing in her mom, because we still need that village. And you talked earlier about isolation. We can't be isolated if we're trying to build anything, and we need other people. But she decided, and it didn't make her less than, it made her even more of, she's a woman that people aspire to be. It did not make her less than. It did not devalue her. It did not diminish her education or anything she was able to bring to the table. We know who Barack is because of Michelle, because she had to be on board. Because you cannot have a woman at home unhappy, being, as the Bible says, a clanging cymbal, and not and do anything.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, she's absolutely right that, I was listening, that same podcast I was listening to, it was like the husband and wife they have a business together, they have several businesses together, but he said that it's not that she doesn't have dreams and goals too. and that those are important. He said, what we did is we looked at what she wanted to do and what I wanted to do. And we said, we determined which one is going to get us there faster. Which one is going to get us there quicker so that then we can use what we earn here to pour into the next business. But I
think a lot that's happening in the culture is you Black ladies are coming in educated, and the ones that are educated are not finding men. So the average Black man today makes less than the good Black men.
Mm-hmm.
These are the good ones. The average one makes less than $50,000 a year. And then we have the average, not the average Black, the Black women who are single right now and waiting. They've got bachelor's and master's degrees. They've got good jobs, and they're looking down at this guy and literally, well, figuratively, actually, they're looking down at this guy and says, this is not someone I can build with because I'm beyond him. They're looking down at him, and I think that's part of feminism. They can't build with someone who they don't have any respect for. I think is probably part of what's going on. So that leaves these guys as incels or involuntarily celibate guys who can't find women. And I know we're going to talk about. We hope we have time to talk about. And then they're going. They've decided to up and leave. But and I think some of it is financial too. It's like, if I'm making $80,000, why should I marry down? We talked about that before we went on the air, Lorraine. Why should I marry a guy that's making 50? If that's the best he can do, certainly I can find someone that can do better. And I think we're in what I'm calling, I haven't heard anyone really discussing this the way I'm thinking about it. We're in the 50-50 era, the era of 50-50. That you pay your bills, I pay my bills, and I think that's creating this divide. But if we're getting together as a husband and wife and we're putting our resources together and paying our bills and doing our life from that pool, I think it changes the dynamic about how women especially think about marrying someone that makes lower wages than them. That this is a corporate thing. Men traditionally have no problem with that. Men will marry women at any income level, but the women that are winning in life, these women are winning in life in their career. They're going to Bali on vacation, but they're doing it by themselves. Because they're not willing to go down with one of these guys.
I agree with that, but I also think that there are many men, because I married someone who made 50,000 because it's more than I make right now. It's not more that I have made, and it's not more than I plan to make, but it's more than I make. And my thing is, on the other side with the men is they also are looking for women that they can't really afford or sustain. They want their own 6-pack 666 situation. We know that 666 is all
they want an Instagram model. They want
for sure.
Like, you are definitely punching above your weight class instead of looking for a woman that you can build together with, because for me, money is not like, of course we need money to survive, but I don't like, you make 6 figures and you still can be broke. Like, what is your plan? If you have a vision for us, you have a vision for our family, you have a direction that you want to go, I'm all about, I would rather help you build. And if you are a man, you should be looking for someone to help you build, because there's so much more trust that happens in a relationship when we build together.
Yeah.
Because I've heard many men who don't have a partner, but they are at that 6-figure level, and they're just like, it's hard to know if they want you for you or if they want you because of the
right.
And I'm just, let me pick me. I will build with you. But you have to be going somewhere.
Yeah.
That's part of my criteria. It's not that you have to be there, but you need to have a plan to get there.
Yeah.
We just driving around in circles on our dates and you ain't talking about nothing. Now we got a different problem.
Yeah.
Now I'm heading to the pink pill community where they talking about Black women dating outside their race.
Mm-hmm.
There's more men who are high value, as they say, 6 figures, whatever.
Yeah.
There's more of them in a different race, in different races than there are in ours. I don't have a problem with that, but I prefer Black men.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to start there. And then if God is like, I need you to spend, I'm like, okay, dude, I'm going to listen to you. But
I think one of the problems is that there are too many women looking for that thing that only resides in, what is it, 3% of all men of all races, married and otherwise, that make over 6 figures.
Yeah.
It's a very and most of those guys are already married. So when you want to find a Black man that makes that, it's going to be tough.
And makes it legally. Legally.
You hating on the brothers. How you hating on the brothers? Some of them don't care if you make it legally, though.
Yeah, some of them don't. Some of them don't.
We talking about those who care right now. So
now you got me with that one.
Where the money resides, where the money resides. Okay, that's all someone worried about. But
I mean, but I think that that what we have to do. I don't want to put this on women, but what we have to do is we have to be realistic.
Mm-hmm.
When I am swiping through Tinder, I'm telling you the truth. I am looking for, my immediate swipes are the prettiest women on there. The ones that take time is if you're like I don't want to be crass, but 5, 6, 7. If you're there, I need to read that profile. I need to know. I need more information. I need more information. And that's kind of crazy, In the end, getting to know a person is going to trump looks. Looks are going to go away soon.
Yes.
And one of the things that Kevin Samuels, the one of the guys that made the high value man
catchphrase,
household name.
Yeah.
That's what he's all about. He's like, why are you a 5 looking for a 10?
Mm-hmm.
If you're a 5, go get you a 5 and build together.
Yeah.
Go get you someone that's like you and build together, because that's better than being alone and dying with your dog.
Yeah.
That's so. I have to rethink
or 20 cats.
What I'm looking for, why I'm looking for, and hopefully my maturity would kick in so that I'm looking for the right things for the right reason. The right woman that can be the support, and I can support her too.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, I want to jump real quick, Hayden. I want to say I think it's very important that you are being realistic with yourself and being open to it. That I believe you put it out there, God knows it, and so you're being open about it. The Bible tells us to write the vision and make the plan.
Yes, absolutely.
I think too, writing it out, coming back to that, because you may, again, you have this list and you go on a date with somebody, got 5 of those, and you realize actually that really was not important. So continue to write that, to being open, but being vulnerable. Honestly, I would say that's in a lot of relationships, especially with men. A lot of times it's harder for you to be vulnerable. I think too, as you're on this journey, and anybody on this journey, having trust enough in the other person, one, having that open communication, but trusting them enough to say, I'm not wasting my time. Let's not waste each other's time. That being vulnerable, even again with like that lady you went on a date. I think in the society too that we live in with all the filters, because people who are looking at these girls, hint, hint, like the Kardashians and people like Black China, who she's been completely saved and renewed and took all her stuff out, and some of them did too. Be careful of the filters online, because what you see ain't always what you get, right? But that part, if we can be honest and real about what it is we really truly want at the heart of it, not just all of these other tangibles, but the unquantifiables, the things that really value and matter the most as you're building your profile. Maybe that needs to be part of it, is that I'm not looking for, a quick overnight romance, but I'm looking for somebody who can help me build together, somebody I can be vulnerable with, somebody who, even for a man, somebody that I can be safe with, that you will hold space for me on the days I'm not having a good day, on the days I just need to be encouraged. Like, let that be part of your profile, because there's some women out there who may be a 5, who may be a 4, but y'all together, you can go to the salon and go to the dentist. Like, things can be done and changed. I can say that. And vice versa for the ladies listening. You can help change a man's outfit. My husband is quick to tell you, hey, my wife helped change my wardrobe. Those things can change. So that person, I will tell you, who's a 5, if they're supportive and they're loving like you need to them be, they will become the most beautiful person in the world who you've ever seen. And so with that being said, I'll turn it back over to Lorraine.
Well, that was great. We might have to have a part 2, but and get some of the other ladies' opinions, and maybe a couple guys on here too.
Yes.
Our scripture, as we have, I got 2 of them today, and I like this scripture. It says, Ecclesiastes 11:6 says, in the morning sow your seed, and in the evening do not withhold your hand, for you do not know which will prosper, either this or that, or whether both alike will be good. And a lot of people use this scripture to really indicate that you should be planting seeds and investing, and not just so narrow focused. And a lot of times, and I'm not talking about, in a worldly way, I'm talking about meeting different people, getting to know different people, so that you start to be more comfortable with, even if you have a list, it's not just about the list. There's connection, there's alignment, there's all these things. But the list is a good starting point, but invest in, and that's what I'm trying to do, invest in meeting other people in other places, doing different things, because you don't know where you will prosper. But if you stay in your house, you probably not going to prosper that much. If you keep your money buried in your bed, probably not a lot of prospering going on there. So as Christians, a lot of times, and we talked about this at the beginning, but I just want to emphasize again that we're certainly not talking about the kind of dating where you're out there having sex with people. We don't believe in having sex before you get married. Sex is for your husband or your wife. But you can have a dinner date with someone and still remain within the boundaries and purity of that God would have you to, and you get to know someone. And that's why it's really it's better even to spend those dates doing things where you can communicate. You don't need to do movies. You don't need to be in some busy club for sure, or some restaurant where you can barely talk. Great, go eat and have a quiet meal. That's fine. But like, pick things where you actually get to know who that person is. A person can tell you anything. But what do you see? How do you engage? So plant those seeds, get to know people, have accountability. We'll talk about that another time. We've talked about it. But then the other scripture I want to bring is Psalm 37:4, which says, delight yourself also in the Lord, and he shall give you the desires of your heart. And as we are we're closing up here, this is, our foundation is that God is not going to withhold good things from us. If we are walking with him, then he will give us discernment. And I don't think that God is saying, don't date, don't meet people, don't do this. A lot of times we teach that, but he's saying, ultimately, I'm going to give you discernment upon which direction that you need to stay with. And so spend time with God, delight in him, and tell him what the desires of your heart. He also will change those. So if your desires are kind of wonky and you just somebody who's 666, he's like, no, let's go with 777. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the holy number, not the devil's number. But God will change your desires to be wholesome because he knows what's best for you.
Mm-hmm.
So as I want to thank Onita for facilitating this conversation. I also want to thank my brother. We're going to get him back on here because he's got a lot of stuff. And it's good to have a man contributing to this conversation.
For sure.
I want to thank you all for being here, for watching, and giving us some feedback in the comments. Please hit the thumbs up, subscribe. Remember, we're not going back to Facebook, so I need you to subscribe and share this, because Christians don't talk about this a lot. We hear other people talking about it, but we want to be a relationship channel that comes from a Christian perspective, but still talks about the things that are happening in our actual world right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, thank you for watching, and until next time, make choices that will help you live, love, and date wiser. God bless you.
All right.